Well, hi again, folks. I'm Greg Flynn, the Public Information Director here for the City of Pearl, and we are blessed today to bring in, as we like to call him, Pearl One. It is our Mayor, Jake Windham, who's going to address, a lot of updates for us. It's been a while since we've had you on. A lot of things going on, waiting on projects to continue moving along, and there were some pretty big issues that you wanted to address this time, but right now things are really going on a good trajectory here in the city, are they not?
They are. Financially, we're doing well. We're going to be doing some more paving projects within the city this spring into summer. You also will see the city received about approximately $1.2 million in funds from the Department of Health on some reoccurring water leaks within the city, and we're going to be replacing lines, which is going to be disruptive for people, but we're going to be replacing some old lines that need to. And we were able to identify these lines for just reoccurring water leaks, looking at work orders, and those are the ones that we're concentrating on first. So that's going to be something that we'll be working on in the upcoming year, as well as a 80 drainage project, replacing some of the culverts up there with the double box culverts, which was going to provide some relief to that Roses area, and then try to get a lot more water downstream. So we should see a big benefit.
But you mentioned the Roses. One of the things I can't commend Shane Burrell, our Public Works Director, and his crew enough, that even without the bigger box culverts, that area has done so much better with keeping water out of. It's the depth of the water. We don't see the flooding like we used to because of the work that he and his guys have been doing.
Yeah, so in our areas that historically flood, when we have some problems or in a rain event, our guys know to go to those areas and try to remove any type of obstructions, whether it be in ditches or along Highway 80 where Roses is. So those guys they're trained. They go do it, especially when we're supposed to get a lot of rain. And that does make a difference, because once that obstruction gets in there, it holds back water and it can make something worse than what it should have to be. And so they have a good eye for that, and they concentrate. Shane does do a good job with his guys, do a great job. All their superintendents, they do really good work, and I think if probably everybody knew how many hours they all work, they would be unbelievable. But those guys work around.
They're out on the weekends. They're out, off hours, after hours. They never stop. Truly.
Yeah, they don't. Most of those guys are probably truly working 40 or 50 hours overtime in a 2-week period. So they're rolling. In this type of year for that department, it's just going to increase because it's good weather, and then you have. You have grass that you have to cut and things of that nature. So, and ditches that we'll have to be making sure that they're maintained. So these guys, game's on for them coming into this season, and but they do good work for us.
Well, they will be moving the clock, springing forward this coming weekend, so we'll have more daylight, and so just more time for them to stay on projects later into the evening. One of the projects that we're talking about that has really seen a lot of work done is the city park.
Yeah,
and it is.
Everybody out there is saying that's about time.
Yeah, I mean there's a reason you're seeing a lot of big differences, and I know we had to. It's the same company, but it went under new ownership, and ever since we've seen these new owners over that company, while they are still within their contract, it's very important to point that out. I know you tell that to the board all the time. They're still within their contract with rain days and everything else built in. But you are seeing this new ownership group really try to expedite the work being done in the park.
Yeah, so Spencer Sykes is the new owner of Clear River, and he came in, brought a lot of assets. When I say assets, a lot of equipment in, and really started getting things moving. Brad Gailey, the superintendent for that job, and another fella, I can't call his name right now, but anyway, they've been boots on the ground, and just seeing so much more progress on the city park. It's been very frustrating, and I know that our citizens are frustrated, but to see something actually start to culminate, come out of the ground, and you can see the fruits of the labor, and it'll be here before you know it. I don't ever put a timeline on this park.
You're right.
But it will be this year, into the summertime, and that's one thing. The big push for us this year was hopefully, because Pearl's turning 50, was to go to the park and do some things there. Not the concert, but go do some things there at the park. However, I think that we would be premature going down there trying to say that we're going to be able to do something for Pearl Day at the park like like we used to when I was a kid. I think that probably I'd be setting better expectations if we do something down there next year. Kind of like what we used to have, the gospel singing, you used to have also tug of wars between Pearl and Brandon cheerleaders, and then you'd have other events, crafts in the area. So that's what we would probably look forward to, trying to do something next year down there, just because I don't think it's going to be done in time for the May 6th date, which is Pearl Day. And everybody that's in social media land or viewing this right now, you'll see a big announcement from us very soon on our acts. And I think that everybody will be really excited about that concert as well. But going back to the park, yeah, there's been a lot of progress. I do want the people at home to know there is a contract that's involved, and I tell the alderman that, and they're just ready for it to be done as well, just like everybody else in the city of Pearl. But both parties are still within the contract. They still have rain days, which, I mean, quite frankly, Greg, if they waited to the last month and just came out there like busy ants, that's all they have to do because they got a contract.
Right.
If that's what they prefer to. But they're not doing that. They're out there a lot more, and which I'm happy to see that, and I know the rest of the city is as well.
Well, the new ownership, you can really see it taking shape out there with the multi-purpose field, which will be used for football. You can see the tennis courts. The tennis courts was another nightmare again, because the company that you had that was working on the tennis courts went out of business.
Yes,
and you had to find somebody to come in, because it's not your everyday people that can do tennis courts.
No, there's not. We did have an issue with that. One of the subcontractors, the business just went belly up. And so then Clear River had to start calling people basically throughout the southeast. I mean, just outside of state and everything else. Also, our architect, Jamie Ware, has done the same thing. And they've been able to get another company online, which delayed progress, but we're still moving in the right direction on that. I think you can see some poles going up on the tennis courts currently. And that's going to be a really, really nice site once it gets completed. Well,
and you'll see the bathrooms will eventually be done at Bright Park. The bathroom facility will be done at Jenkins Park, and then I think you'll see those parks really start to come alive again as well.
Yeah. Some long overdue things that were at both of those parks. At Bright Park, you definitely needed a bathroom, and we're going to be looking at doing some upgrades on some lighting over there as well, so people feel a little bit more comfortable at nighttime walking around the track. And at Jenkins, that park attendant's office was long overdue to get a new building there, and you just want to make sure that you let your folks know that we're trying to address the things that they think needs to be done within their communities and with our parks. Parks are a big part of a quality of life. And so when we set out on all this projects many years ago now, I guess, when we passed a referendum so we could put funds towards this from sales tax, the thought process was, we want our parks to look nice. We don't want to have to go to other cities to go to the park. And that's been my goal. That's been what I've been harping on the whole time as we went through this. It's just taken a little bit longer than I would have liked.
Well, Jenkins Park is truly a diamond down there off of Old Whitfield Road. Bright Park absolutely has the potential to be one of the most beautiful parks anywhere here in the metro. A beautiful walking trail, a pond with a fountain in it. And one of the things that I think a lot of folks, even I took for granted, is that Center City walking trail that's on the outside of the baseball complex. That is a great walking trail, 1 mile around, and beautiful elevation and great views of nature there. We've got some really good places for people to go hang out.
Yeah, and just you brought that up, and we're about to do some modifications to that walking track too. We'll bring some asphalt in, reseal it, get it standing tall, make it look a lot nicer. You'll be seeing some productivity up there before long.
Well, and it's just one of those things. You give people a sense of pride and somewhere to exercise, and it builds up a sense of community.
It does. It does.
One of the other projects that we've been asked about is West Rankin Parkway. I know one of the concerns that people are having is they think the project is dead because nothing that they can see has been going on. but that project is very much alive.
Yeah, so we have met with Brad White. He's the executive director for MDOT. We've had some issues, more dirt issues out there. It's called dispersing dirt and dissipating. And so we think right now on that project, or at least what MDOT's telling me, is that they'll have to rebid the project because the change order would exceed 25%, which in state procurement law, if a project exceeds 25% on a change order, then you're going to have to rebid it. So I do want to tell the taxpayers and our citizens out there that this project's not dead. I spoke with Brad White the other day. Matter of fact, we have some legislation in the legislature right now to allow MDOT to spend federal dollars on that highway. So it's not going to be a cost to Pearl or Flowood when things really get going out there. Again, a project that you're frustrated about, but some of those things is I can't remedy the fact that we have this type of dirt out there that causes more issues. But I do have the commitment of the MDOT's director and also Senator Kirby and I have been working on this, and I feel like that we're all on the same page. Everybody knows it has to happen. We've also worked with Gary Rhodes on the other end. It affects his city greatly. It's going to happen. We just, or I guess currently what we were waiting on that's happening there was some more geotech work done for the dirt itself, and that's supposed to be reported to MDOT and their engineers. Additional decisions will be made, but all the decisions that are being made are moving forward on the project. I mean, that project, legislation on that project was 1992. And you have a roadbed there. I know there's been some factors. When I came in, there was some litigation on it. But the litigation and all that, that's not on there anymore. We just have a situation where this project's going to cost more. MDOT wants to ensure that, hey, we're going to do it right. We're going to have a good road. We don't want this road falling apart. I think my job as the mayor is to continue to push that needle, though. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's stay relevant. Let's understand this is a big deal for Pearl, big deal for Flowood. It's going to open up a lot of property. And I get the feeling, and had all good conversations with MDOT's director, that it's going to be the phoenix that rises from the ashes, so to speak, before long.
Well, and it's so critical. I had a chance to talk recently with Senator Kirby and with Representative Newman, how integral that is of bringing people from Lakeland Drive, from Brandon Reservoir area, that puts them right in the heart of our business district, being able to come down that parkway. You're right there on Pearson, you're right there at Riverwind. So it is a critical project that, please in no way think that is lost its luster.
No, it hasn't. This is not lost its luster, not for me at all. I think about it probably more than anybody else does, to be quite honest with you, or all these projects that we got going on in the city, because I want to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing for our people. And that's my main goal, from a government standpoint, or from being in this seat, being an elected official. I think it's really important if you tell people something, you get it done. Mm-hmm. So I'm mindful about doing those things, or I'll try to be mindful about setting expectations for our people. I don't give someone the type of answer to say, yeah, this is going to happen, and then not follow up on it. Right. Because people got to know that you're as good as your word. So these projects have my name written all over to get done, and since my name is attached to them, come hell or high water, they're going to get done.
Well, they are blowing and going out there on the Pearl-Richland Intermodal, and this spring, perhaps on schedule that would be next month into May, is they're going to start setting that bridge and bringing in the giant crane to set these spans. And again, we've talked about it before, to not only be good for public safety, but to open up that corridor to commerce.
Well, it's going to open up that corridor for commerce. There's a second phase that would run through Richland that we're working on as well. I'm working with Pat Sullivan and with MDOT on that currently. But that bridge is going to be certainly a safety component. I'm not going to have to worry about people that live on the other side not being able to have fire protection, like we had a house burn several years ago. Well, about 8 to 9 years ago, I guess, maybe a little bit longer. had a house burn, and then just the inconvenience of the road too. You have transportation that can get north and south through the county. I think y'all probably heard me say this before, but Rankin County doesn't have a whole lot of north and south corridors. So Pearl Richland provides a north and south corridor without a train stopping you once the bridge is put in. And then Pearl Richland is complemented by the West Rankin Parkway because it continues northbound. If you have a major accident on I-20, people can go north and hit Lakeland and work themselves around. Plus, it's much more convenient to come up South Pearson Road, come across that bridge, and it's just a steady flow of traffic, which is going to make it seamless for more businesses to locate in that area, probably more industrial type businesses in that area because you have a railroad that's close to it. And my thoughts or what I envision is that's zone C3 down there. So your 468 corridor going down, I foresee more property getting purchased through there and then see some business growth.
Well, those are three exciting transportation products. Another issue that has come to our attention as people take a look at with baseball season right around the corner. Word has come down now that Trustmark Park, they will be charging for parking this year. People got that sticker shock at the College Series where it was $10 a car for the State and Southern Miss game, and that will be that way for the next two college games. And for Mississippi Braves games, that will be $5 a vehicle as you come in to see the baseball. But it's important to note, and I know you wanted to point this out, that is not any of the city's doing. We have no control over the parking charge over there at Trustmark Park.
Yeah, no, that's not our call at all. Matter of fact, Pete Lab and I, the GM, had a conversation last week. I didn't want people thinking that we were charging. It happened 20 years ago, and it didn't go over well then. I don't think it to go over well now. However, we have a new owner of the baseball team over there, and they're trying different things. But we want to make sure that our name wasn't on the $10 from these games. I hope people will understand that. And you know, Endeavor is a type of company. They're a for-profit company. So, I mean, I understand trying to work through different things to generate more money. I just want to make sure that it's not people thinking that the city's making money off of it.
Right. Well, and one of the other things, too, is with Endeavor, they're a true entertainment company from everything I understand. And so they're really going to be increasing the fan experience there. And with increasing fan experience, giving you more than just a baseball game, again, this is just one of those charges. We'll see if it sustains, if it lasts.
Yeah.
But their goal in talking to the Braves is that Endeavor wants to bring people in and give them a true experience. Let your kids have something fun. The Kids Fun Zone, I understand, will be back. While the parents want to enjoy baseball, the kids can go and run and play because while our kids do like baseball, the attention span doesn't necessarily hold, right?
They would be. They would prefer much more to be playing with other kids than watching baseball. At least that's how my kids are. They want to play and have fun and run around and have a good time. So we actually went to the USM MSU game the other night, and it was a good crowd there. It was a good crowd. A great night for baseball.
How nice is it when you look around and you see all those visitors that we have coming to our city, what that stadium attracts? The Braves, 3 million since their inception. The college games, 5, 6, 7,000. It's just great to see all those people coming into our city.
Yeah, it is. And it's a time of year for us to really showcase our city and our businesses to take advantage of that, our restaurants, and sometimes probably even hotels. If people travel across the state, your major fans for MSU or Southern that are outside the Jackson metro area that stays in our hotels. And it's a time for us to really shine. So it's always important for us to have grass cut and trash picked up, and when people come into the city, they understand that that the city looks good and it's clean. And we've had quite a bit of financial growth from sales tax revenue, and I mean we're on the map. And I've told this to the alderman, we're number 3 in the metro area with sales tax revenue. Jackson first, Ridgeland second, and Pearl's third. And a lot of times that shocks people, but I think that's number one. When you come to Pearl, a lot of the things that I've been told by outside business is that they really enjoy the people of our city. There's like just good, down home earth folks that just real, and that's what I appreciate about our people too. And so they really like doing business here. And then we try to present we try to present ourselves as a business-friendly city, trying to work with business owners and do different things that, or different strategies that maybe another city would not do, but we do it because we understand that it's going to help the business owner and it's going to have a ripple effect in the business world, whether it be commercial or residential, that, hey, we're good to work with. And that makes a big difference when you have relationships and you build a network. So during that time, when we have these baseball games, it certainly is a time for us to be able to shine and put on our best side, you know.
Well, one of the things you mentioned that we are third in revenue, tax diversions in the entire metro area. What's great is that your philosophy that you've told us all about is that you want to save for a rainy day, and the city coffers are full for that rainy day, but yet you also then want to reinvest that into some things that may not be as sexy as most people will see. They're not as evident to the eye. You are very much into, you mentioned it earlier, the infrastructure, about reinvesting in the infrastructure of this city so that you can put it on a maintenance plan and not have to worry about constantly repairing things.
That's right. So, I mean, we've received quite a bit of funds from ARPA, and we'll probably be doing close to $13 million worth of projects and sewer projects within the city, and those funds came down from Washington. And then we put some areas together, the Grandview Interceptor. We're going to rehab that interceptor, which is going to be huge. It leaks like a sieve has for a long time. That's a $3.4 million project, and that's addressing sewer. And yeah, it's not sexy because it's laying pipe, but you know, in my mind, as far as infrastructure goes, you got to bite off one at a time in order to eat an elephant, correct?
Yes, sir.
So infrastructure is a major deal. So it's not a time where you're not doing infrastructure. From what I've seen and how construction schedules are, I think that a growing city and a city that's really trying to take care of its citizens and really safeguard itself is, hey, replacing water lines, replacing sewer lines, and we're about to get into a lot of that rehab, which I'm very proud about. Some of our older neighborhoods going in and rehabbing old sewer lines, and that will lay the foundation for the future. Now, I won't be in this seat forever, but the next person, man or woman that comes in, I'm gonna say, this is what we have. This is what we've done. We've GPSed all our water valves. We've GPSed our sewer valves. We've replaced these sewer lines in these areas. We built this water well on the south part of I-20. We purchased 7 acres. I don't know if we've told everybody that, but we're going to put a new storage tank and a water well over there, again, in order to make sure that the city is set for the future. From an economic development standpoint, you got to have water. I mean, you must have water. So us putting another well on site is going to be very beneficial for the future as we continue to grow and be able to offer these services to people. But infrastructure is number one. It's not as nice as asphalt, right?
It is.
But I mean, we're still going to be doing some major amount of paving too. We have several big roads that are going to be long overdue to be paved this year, and I think everybody's going to be very, very happy about it.
Well, and it's one of those things you pointed out. They kind of go hand in hand, and it's one of the problems that Jackson has that we don't have, and you don't want us to have, is that when you have recurring problems with pipes that are very, very old. Well, you're not going to replace that road, do a nice big overlay on it, when you know you're going to have to replace the pipes because you put down a beautiful new road and then you got to dig it up because a water main is busted up.
I'll give you an example. There. Old Brainerd Road is going to be paved from King Drive all the way down to Pearlwood Apartments this year. And that road has a major water leak right there at Truett Memorial Church. We're going to have to open up that road and repair that water leak before we pave the road, obvious. But that's, hey, spot on what you're saying there. You got to know those things, and you got to be in touch with your infrastructure within your city. And we're doing some things now. We went out and we hired a guy, Matt Reed. He's a Class A operator, water operator. He has over 20 years experience. Shane Urell, our public works director, identified him, went out and hired him just to make sure that we were doing everything that we need to be doing on our end. So they're talking about more comprehensive planning, putting our sewer pump stations and our water wells. Actually, we're going to be able to look at them digitally. That way, we know all the time what's going on with them, and that's preparing for the future.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to look at it on your computer or on your tablet or on your phone and say, okay, we got a problem out here. I don't need to go out and check it. I know what we have to get done. Get out there and we got to fix something.
And something else that we're going to do that I think is a great product. There's new technology out there. It's called an eye hydrant. So you have a cloud base in a fire hydrant, and we'll be able to read those fire hydrants, the flows coming through it. Well, if we see a big decreased pressure in it, then we know we probably got a water leak, and it's going to help us to be able to locate our water leaks quicker. So if you see something like, if you see it fluctuating, then you know something's going on, and we can get out in front of it. That way, a big water main doesn't blow, and we're out in front of it. And we're going to strategically place these in neighborhoods throughout the city. It will probably cost us about $500,000 or $600,000 once we get them completed, but every subdivision will have some of these eye hydrants so we can identify those problems.
One more thing on what I consider infrastructure, it's making a huge difference around the city, is the replacement of old bulbs of streetlights with LED lighting. And that is making a huge difference, it really is, with being able to see. Great project between the city and Entergy, that is, the old bulbs burn out, they're replacing them with LED.
Yeah, so Entergy will do that, but we've actually partnered with a company called Path, and they were awarded a contract on it. Entergy will do it, but it's over a period of years. And so what we're doing with Path is we're going to see an immediate cost savings on our lighting, on our utility bills, and then we're going to be able to do every Entergy light within the city. It's going to take us 5 months.
Sure.
So instead of being 5 years as things go down, that Entergy replaces, Pat's going to go out there and put all LEDs throughout the city for Entergy, and then we've already had discussions with Southern Pine, and they're upgrading to LED as well. So the city's going to look different. It's going to be good. It's going to be a safety feature, it's an aesthetic feature, and it's going to be a cost savings for the city in the long run.
Yeah, you could tell the difference in the neighborhoods where you've seen some of this LED pop up. Huge for safety, because it lights up, that one light will light up a much wider area and so much brighter. And again, it's also saving us money, right?
Yeah, so it's great. It's a great product.
All right, well, Mayor, some great things going on in the city. I know we'll get you back pretty close. Is that city park, it's getting there. And we're going to have, boy, I know we're going to have a heck of a grand opening of that thing when it's when it's finally ready.
Yeah, we'll probably all. We just have a big block party down there. Celebrate that, so that'll be good. Thanks for having me, Greg. I appreciate it.
Oh, you got it. Remember, you can follow City of Pearl News anytime on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, cityofpearl.com. That's going to do it for this edition of Taking a Look Inside the Mayor's Mailbox. We will talk to you again soon. I'm Greg Flynn, folks. Have a great day.